Fear. It keeps us from doing some amazing things, but also does it save us? This week on the Yepcast. This is the Yepcast, where we're building a tribe of creators, movers, and shakers,
and inspiring young entrepreneurs to learn, think, and support one another.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Yepcast. This is episode number 11. It's hard to believe that we're already to 11 episodes. My name is James Nuveen.
And my name is Madeline. We're, again, so excited to be back, as always. How's your week been so far, James?
It's been all right. We got some really cool news today that we're really excited about, so we'd like to share that with you in just a moment when we go on to In the News. This week in the special edition of In the News, we have actually 3 stories with you. And the last one's going to be a little bit more special than the first 2. But the first 2 have to directly, they luckily directly relate to what we're talking about today in Our Take and what this whole episode, number 11, is all about. So the first one that really caught my attention this week is that Uber is eyeing 2021 for food delivery drones. That's insane to think about.
Wow, I didn't know that.
2021 is only about 2 years away. 2.5, but still. They're calling it Uber Express. And as of right now, they are testing it extensively, and it's going very, very, very well. We know that Amazon has already reached into this industry a lot. They want to autonomously deliver packages and Whole Foods groceries via drones, but we haven't seen that from Uber yet. And because they're wading into these waters, these unknown waters that no one has ever seen before, it's very fearful, of course, but Uber is leading the pack. And for them to lead the pack, that is a very scary thing. I bet there are people on that team who are very afraid of what this may mean for Uber, what this may mean for the world, what this may mean for consumers. But again, they're running past this fear. They're trampling it, and ultimately for the consumer's benefit.
That's insane. I actually had not heard that news yet, so that's absolutely insane. Uber's always on the forefront, and I know in the past they've gotten in trouble with like a lot of regulation, right, about just kind of like how they emerge into markets. And like James said, you said it like exactly how it is. They trample into markets, which I think that's the best way that could ever be put. But yeah, they definitely do. And with that comes so much risk. But yeah,
yes.
But I mean, with risk comes reward. That's what we learn in finance and in all our classes.
Yeah,
And in life.
and it could be a fantastic thing for consumers. I know we see, like I said, Amazon's going to be delivering all the stuff via drones, and that's just going to reduce the time for supply chains to get packages from A to B, and B obviously being the customer's hands. So it's just better and better for the world economy and for us, the consumers, who can get their packages even faster.
That's absolutely insane. So I have a little less exciting news. My news is a little depressing, actually. So my news is about the stock market. If you've been following finance news, the Dow Jones fell 500 points today. And when I'm saying today, I am talking about, what even is today? October 23rd. So you'll probably be hearing this on October 31st. Happy Halloween, everyone. But hopefully the stock market's doing better then, but it kind of does look like we're into a downward trend. I don't have that much else to say about it, but that's kind of my take. Do you have any feedback? I know you're taking finance classes and you kind of watch stocks and what's happening on Wall Street, right, James?
With every problem comes an opportunity. So there are people who are buying when the market's low, who are going to make a lot of money when these markets come right back up. And just today, the market didn't actually fall as much as people thought it was going to. So we're not headed for total crisis yet. Keep your eyes out, but we are not there yet. And hopefully we don't hit that point, but we will sometime soon. It's not a big deal. The market will regain right after, but it might be some tough times for a few people in the United States and across the world.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting to watch. And I know on Wall Street, there's a lot of fear. So, again, that kind of relates to our topic today.
And last but not least, we get to talk about something that's really exciting for both of us and our YEP tribe. So today, we were published in the latest edition of Cincy Inno, which is a subset of American Inno, which is a publication nationwide which talks about startups and innovation in specific cities all around the country. So in Cincinnati's version of this edition, this magazine, they publish a newsletter every week, actually 2 newsletters every week. We were featured as the #1 story, and it's so exciting because we want this word to get out to as many people as possible so we can share all of the value that we have learned throughout this process of finding my calling, me, and Madeline's transition from dreamer to doer. We want to share our stories and help you guys find as much value in that as you possibly can, and to help you not only navigate college, but also to succeed after graduation. And that's our ultimate goal. It really is. And of course, we'll link this in our Halloween version of The Pivot. We are very excited about this news. It's only good news for us and for you guys, our listeners. So thank you for all your support. It has meant so much to us
Absolutely.
over these last 12 or so weeks. We just want to thank you so much because it has meant the world to us, and we can't wait to see where this goes next.
Yeah, and I just want to add on to that a huge shout out to Courtney Gabrielson of Cincy Inno. She was absolutely phenomenal to work with. She did our interview, she wrote our story, and she runs all of Cincy Inno, and I think even maybe a few other chapters of American Inno. She's incredible and was so kind to kind of give us a platform to speak about our passions and growing our tribe and everything. So thanks for that. And also our reaction to the Startup Cincy community. Startup Cincy, if you're not from here, we have followers all across the nation, from Chicago to North Dakota, California, everywhere. But Startup Cincy, I do want to give also a special shout out to them, just because this community is absolutely insane with how much they support other young entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs as a whole. So we're incredibly grateful for that and for all of our feedback today. Now it's time for our take. In the spirit of Halloween, we wanted to dive in and talk all about fear. So fear has been present in our lives since the dawn of time. It has always been there, and for the foreseeable future, it always will be. And it's especially common in the lives of entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs, so that's why we especially wanted to cover this today. So James, how has fear been present in your life, or what are your just thoughts on it as a whole, on your entrepreneurial journey thus far?
Well, like you said, Madeline, fear is definitely not what it used to be. We are not running around being threatened by wild animals. There aren't rhinos chasing us or other human beings unless you live in an unsafe neighborhood. But I'd like to assume that we all are living safely and comfortably wherever we are. I have definitely faced fear in so many aspects of my life, especially recently when I have finally found my calling. So once I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I immediately wanted to launch 15 businesses. But you know what keeps me from doing that? Fear. Fear of failure, fear of uncertainty, and probably also the fear of not reaching my potential or others' expectations of me. And if we can break this episode down into 3 segments, that would be freaking amazing, because I think those topics of fear are really what entrepreneurs really struggle with. Getting past that fear of failure and rejection, getting past that fear of ambiguity and uncertainty and the unknown, and then finally getting past that fear of kind of doing whatever the hell you want and kind of ignoring what everybody has to think about you, or reaching your potential, or all these different kind of phrases that you hear all the time when you're a child. So let's break this up into 3 different topics. And first, let's discuss the fear of failure, especially as it relates to entrepreneurs and startups and creators.
I think you nailed it on the head on that one. And failure is really the overarching one. So I think it's great that we start there and really go from there. But failure is what stops us from doing so much. Just the thought of it makes people freeze. It makes people not do what they want to do. And for me, I think that's been kind of my biggest fear being an entrepreneur too. So my journey is very similar to yours. And I think a lot of people is probably out there that once you find that, hey, I want to do this, I want to be an entrepreneur, or even people who don't, maybe you're just have a business idea. The reason you don't do it is a lot of times because you don't believe in yourself, which we'll delve into that.
Yes.
Or because you think you will just fail and you'll fall flat on your face. I mean, it's the reason why people stay in jobs they hate, because they think that they'll never be able to get out of it. They'll never be able to land on their feet, and they'll never be able to do what they actually want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the main goal behind this is to turn fear of failure, which I think we all either used to have or currently do have, into a fear of failure to act. So I think that's the ultimate goal. You're turning a fear of failure, a fear of rejection, into a fear of failure to act. So you're afraid of not acting. That's like everyone's goal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because you just want to do. And fear, really, the fear of failure really separates those who do and those who don't in this life. Because those who don't are too afraid to do what everything those who do.
Yeah.
It's a tongue twister, but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The people who sit on the couch from 5 to 9 and go to work from 9 to 5, right now they're not doing.
Unless you're like coding on the couch, because that
Sure,
sounds like
yes,
my
of
normal
course,
night.
but you're
yes.
doing, that's doing something.
But yes,
Sure,
yeah,
that's doing something.
But if you're just watching Netflix or something mindless that you're not bettering yourself, a lot of times that is the pattern you get into.
Those who do jump at opportunities to act and to make good on opportunities. So they see an opportunity, jump. See an opportunity, jump, because it's going to benefit them or their audience or their children, whatever audience they're trying to create value for. That's what entrepreneurs do. They jump at these opportunities to make good in all their world.
Exactly. That's the biggest differentiator. Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, if you can get past this fear, that's what will make you an entrepreneur. In my mind, that's the biggest roadblock to being an entrepreneur. There's a million things out there, finances, a million and one. We could literally take all day to list them, but fear of failure is my number one. So going off that, I have kind of a question for you to ask yourselves. And James, if you don't mind, can I ask you right now?
Sure.
Okay, it's a hard-hitting question. I'll preface that. What would you do if you couldn't fail?
Oof. Well, Madeline knows this. We have both worked for a CEO at a startup who taught us that there is no failing.
Yeah. And this question, I should say, comes from him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he asks a lot of people this in their interview and everything, but I love reflecting on it.
Okay, what a coincidence that I'm bringing it up then. He says that there is no failing, there's only learning. So when you say you're failing, I'm using air quotes, failing, you're not actually failing. You're learning to do whatever you're doing in a better way so as not to fail next time. So going off of what you said, Madeline, if I could do anything and wouldn't fail, what would I do?
Yeah, what would you do if you couldn't fail?
I would travel the world in a boat.
Wow.
And not touch land for 365 days. First of all, I can't sail, so that would be a bit of an issue. But if the possibility that I wouldn't die doesn't exist, I think there would be Oh my God. Infinite possibilities to learn on a trip like that. You would learn so many lessons. And this kind of reminds me of, if you guys ever seen the movie Life of Pi, where
Yes.
a young boy was stranded in a raft with a tiger, or what he thought was a tiger. Oh, shoot, I don't want to spoil it.
No spoilers.
He learned so much from his time on this raft that he comes off the raft after he's saved and lives a very, very happy life because he has learned so much in this little short amount of time. And I would just have 365 days. But I think I would learn so much from reading, from the nature around me, from the animal life around me, just being.
Wow, that's absolutely incredible. I had no idea you would say that, but I love that. And it kind of makes sense for who you are too. You're always learning and thinking, and in that situation you could do that.
And what about you, Madeline? What would you do if you could not fail?
I knew you were going to ask that.
I'm curious.
That's a really good question. I reflect on this a lot, and I will say it changes all the time. I think if I truly could not fail, I don't want to say this. I think I would quit. I think I would quit my job and start my own business, which that's a pretty big statement to make. But I do have a fear of failure. I have a lot of fears in my life. Anyone who truly knows me, who's listening, knows that I'm kind of a fear-driven person, which is something that I work on every single day, and I'm trying to get better about that. But I would say truly, if I could not fail, that's what I would do. I would try to be scrappy and make a living as an entrepreneur till I can make my own living by myself.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would also do the same thing while I'm on the boat if I had internet access. So I think a lesson that we can all learn from this is that you're bound to fail. Everybody fails. But I think it's about how you respond to that failure and your thought processes going into that failure that really determine where you're going to go from that point on. 75% of venture capital backed startups fail. That means these startups were given money. They have investors who have money on the line. 75% of them fail. That's 3 out of every 4. That's insane. And you know what a lot of those entrepreneurs do right after that happens? They just do it again. Found another company, join another team. They do it again because they've learned from that experience that they can do it. They have people behind them, those investors, who believe in them, believe in their skills, believe in their drive. So you will fail. You will fail 100%. And I'm never going to tell anyone that they won't fail because they will.
Yeah, failure is...
But it's how you respond to that failure.
Yeah, it's just a part of life. It's inevitable. It will happen. And it's really, I think, again, you nailed it on the head with that one. It's how you respond. That's all failure is. And I think true entrepreneurs respond and just keep pushing past.
It's just a part of the progress. Uncertainty, I think, is probably the number 2 fear that a lot of entrepreneurs have. We are bred, especially if we're innate entrepreneurs, to kind of pierce and separate that uncertainty and to get by it really easily. But I think that really exists for a lot of people who are taught to be entrepreneurs. And for me now, uncertainty is really exciting. And I think that's true for you too, Madeline. So have you had any experience with the fear of uncertainty or just uncertainty itself recently?
Absolutely. So, and even right now, I think, so working on Yep has probably been the biggest unknown. I had no idea when starting this, honestly, that we would still be doing this right now. And I'm so excited that we are, and I'm so incredibly passionate about it, but I never would have ever dreamed, like, if you told me a year ago I would be doing this with James or doing anything like this at all, I would have not believed you at all. And I think that's what's so exciting. Like a year from now, where will we be? we don't know. And that's sometimes terrifying to me because I'm someone who likes to plan every little thing. So
I
down,
know you do.
yes, down to what I'm doing like after work, to the weekends, to like where my career will be in 5 years. And that's something you cannot do as an entrepreneur. And in fact, the biggest thing I found is it's limiting. If when James and I developed this, I was like, no, I don't want to do that because it doesn't fit into my 5 year plan. Well, that would have sucked. I would have missed out on one of the greatest. I really consider this to be one of the greatest things and my favorite things I've done in life so far. So I would never would have guessed that before. And you really have to embrace the unknown. And I know for people who are like type A out there or planners and you live by your schedule, sometimes you have to throw it to the wayside and get over that because you're not going to know and you have to be okay with that.
I think there are very, very, very few guarantees in life. So I think that prevents us, just that fact right there, prevents us from expecting anything. Why do we expect anything? Nothing is certain. Nothing is certain. You just have to go with the flow and roll with the punches. That's something I preach all the time. Madeline's not the biggest fan of that because she is a little bit more of a planner than I am. But it remains true. And there's no alternative to uncertainty. If you are an entrepreneur or if you're a creator, you are going to face it head on every single day of your life, and there is no alternative. So, bluntly speaking, get used to it.
Yeah.
I know that's hard to hear for a lot of people. You just have to get used to it and learn to love it because it should be exciting.
One thing I really want to add on to this is if you are in school now or if you're a recent grad like me, I think you've probably encountered the business model canvas, which in school, I honestly thought this was the greatest tool. Like you can plan everything, what your perfect little startup will be in a year. But screw that thing. That's not how it is at all. I'm sure any professors listening are probably like, what the hell are they saying? But I'll say right now that like if we planned yep on that thing, no way. And where I work now, our founder's really strong like disbeliever in the business model canvas because he says by the time you build that thing out, your business will already have to pivot and you'll have to redo it. So I don't want to like harp on that too much. And what you learn in school is incredibly valuable, but I would say you can't plan. So things that are prepping you to approach situations and plan in that way, throw them to the wayside. You're not going to know, and don't limit yourself.
Yeah, we're told to color inside the lines all of the time. But what lines? In life, there are no lines. You just have to go. Go, go, go. And in this world of uncertainty, finding people who have done this all before is immensely powerful. That's why it's so important to find a mentor or mentors. Finding people who have done this before will make this so much easier for you. Not that it has to be easy, because that doesn't make it as exciting. But rolling with the punches makes it a lot easier when you have someone beside you or have someone whispering in your ear telling you, okay, when this comes, you might want to react to it in this way.
The third and final fear that I think a lot of people have when diving into entrepreneurship is the fear of not reaching your idea of your potential or others' expectations for that potential. Honestly, that can be a very real fear with family and friends. There's a lot of players pressuring you and yourself. So, James, kind of going off that, what has been your like ideals of your potential and expectations? How has this fear in particular played a role in your experience as an entrepreneur?
Oh, that's a good question. I probably should have prepared an answer, assuming that we were going to be talking about it. But I would say that I've always done really, really well in school. Like I had gone through high school without a single mark off an A. I never got less than an A. And to do that meant to me that I was going to be the most successful, which is completely false. Now I realize that. Now I know, after graduating high school and going through 6 majors in college, and not yet graduating, but now I realize that school success does not relate in the slightest to how you will do after graduation and what you will do and how you will impact this world. It has nothing to do with it. I've always thought that, though. So I've always thought my potential is sky high just because I have all these accolades and all these honors, just because I can derive a math formula or memorize the date of the War of 1812. I'll give you a hint, it's 1812. But in these last few years, when I've actually discovered my calling and found that I want to help people for the rest of my life and provide them value every single day of my life, that's when I was pushed. I was pushed out of my comfort zone, and I really realized my full potential. So what I mean by that is I've been pushed to create something. My dad is an entrepreneur himself, and last summer I went with him to a creator conference in Boise, Idaho. And by the way, Boise, Idaho is beautiful. You should go there if you haven't. I was pushed to go to this conference, and oh my God, I learned so much at that conference. I learned more at that conference than any other conference or camp, and almost any other camp I've ever been to. And from that camp, I came away with the belief that I need to create something now, but I've never known what to create. I wanted to blog, I wanted to podcast, I wanted to create video, but of what? What do I have to show the world? And I think that's a little bit of a metaphor for my view of my potential, because I've never really realized it. I'm still a senior in college. I have no idea what this outside world is going to be like. I have a little sense. I've had a few internships and some cool jobs and a lot of cool experiences. But in reality, I have no idea. And I don't think I've reached my full potential. And I don't think anyone at this school or you, Madeline, I don't think you've reached your full potential. But what others expect from us right now, I think changes dramatically once we take that first step to actually do what we want to do what we actually love doing. So screw the fear of failure, screw the fear of uncertainty. Just do what you want to love, do what you're passionate about, push yourself to do that, and create value for other people so that you can fulfill your potential and completely smash everyone else's expectations of you, because they really don't matter. Only your image of success matters.
Oh my God, James, that was incredible. Wow. I think we could be done.
Hold on, one more point.
Wait, I have one more point too, but you go first.
Hold on, one more point.
Okay.
I'm an innate entrepreneur, which means I think I've had entrepreneurship in my blood. I just didn't realize it until this past summer or last summer, in the last 2 years. I think we innate entrepreneurs who have this in our blood, who really want to help people and create value out of nothing, build something out of nothing, we are obligated to make the most of our lives. We have to. Because the world depends on our innovation, our creativity to grow and to develop into all kinds of different things, to develop into the future, really.
The only other point I really want to make, I think you pretty much covered everything as far as potential and expectations. But the one thing I want to say is, if you've reached your full potential, in my mind, you're in the grave. You never reach your full potential until the day you die, because otherwise, why is life worth even living?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Each day you should be wanting to improve, being curious, and creating value for the world. However you see that, whether it's blogging, podcasting, creating, even just volunteering, giving back, however you do that, you have potential each and every day. You're never at it, whether you're Elon Musk, He has not tapped his potential, and he's one of the greatest innovators in the world. So we've got a lot of ahead of us all. The one thing I also want to add is our age, I think a lot of times society puts these crazy pressures on us that we have to be like an A student. You have to get an internship at Google. You have to do all these insane things. Do your life for you. Because at the end of the day, you lay down on your pillow and you have to be happy with where you are and what you're doing. And don't always look for what's next. That's my biggest thing. This is, I need to take my own advice, but a lot of times if you get caught up in the next, you never really truly are in the present and you can never improve yourself. So that's my biggest advice to reaching your potential. Work on that every single day.
Boom.
This week's challenge, I want you all to reflect on the fears in your life and what really is at the root of them. I had a conversation with one of my really close friends this weekend, and she recommended this exercise to me, actually not even knowing I was doing this episode, but I think it's an awesome exercise for us all to go through and really get out, why are you afraid of what you're afraid of? What in your life has caused you to get to that point? And I think once you find that root, once you find the root of your fear of failure, your fear of uncertainty, your fear of not reaching your potential, I think that's the moment that you can truly attack these fears. Not overcome them, because I think that's something that every single day you will have a new fear. You will have a new thing to overcome. That's never going to go away.
Thanks again, guys, for tuning in. This has been episode 11, all about fear. The fear of failure, the fear of uncertainty, and the fear of not reaching your full potential and fulfilling others' expectations. Thank you so much for tuning in. We wish you the best of a Halloween. Eat a shit ton of candy, get bloated, get fat, gain 20 pounds.
Jeez.
Who cares? It's Halloween.
Go wild.
Peace.